All right, so last class, we multiplied and divided mixed numbers. All right, so now we're going to look at adding and subtracting. So the directions will be to estimate, and that's what we have over here, to estimate and then find the actual sum. So I want to make sure we're clear on what it means to estimate when you have mixed numbers. So here we have 42 and 1 over 2 plus 17 and 7 over 8. And so here are the directions to estimate mixed numbers. First thing we would do is take half of the denominator, compare the result to the numerator. All right. If the numerator is less than half of the denominator, leave the whole number the same. And yes, this is being recorded. It should be. You guys a chance to write that. So the first part of step 3 is if the numerator is less than half of the denominator, leave the whole number the same. Trying to give you a chance to write before I scroll all the way up and get to the rest of it. Then for the second part of step 3, if the numerator is greater than or equal to half of the denominator, add 1 to the whole number. All right. All right. Any questions on that before we actually try to do it? Don't scroll up if you're still writing. All right. So let's look at the problem, the original problem. We have 42 and 1 over 12, 17 and 7 over 8. So step 1, we go back here to step 1, take half of the denominator. So that's what I have here, HOD, half of the denominator is 6. And then we're going to compare 1, which is the numerator, to half of the denominator. Since 1 is less than 6, you keep it at 42. All right, so remember that third statement. If the numerator is less than half of the denominator, you leave the whole number the same. And so that's what we do for that 42 and 112. So that's what we say right here. Since 1 is less than 6, that was half of your denominator, you keep 42 the same. Now looking at 17 and 7/8, once again, take half of your denominator. In this case is 4. Compare the 4 to the numerator. Since 7 is greater than 4, you add 1 to the 17. and that will be 18. So you see right here, the 42 stayed the same, and we added 1 to 17, which made it 18. All right, make sure we're okay before we finish off doing the estimation. So once again, you take half of your denominator. Then you compare the numerator to half of that denominator. So looking at the first one, 1 was less than 6. So we left 42 as 42. And the next one, 7 is greater than the 4. So that means we turn that 17 into 18. And that will be 60. So right here, your estimated answer is going to be 60. All right, before we look at the actual sum, calculating the actual sum, questions on how we did that estimation. All right, scrolling up, making sure we're okay. All right, so over here to the right, we did the actual sum, and that piggybacks off of what we did before. You know, if we're going to add fractions, we need to find the common denominator. The least common denominator would be the best thing. So that's what we found right here, which is 24. So the LCD is 24. So how do we get that fraction with a denominator of 24 out of 1 over 12? You multiply top and bottom by 2. Same thing with the 7 over 8. How do I get that to be a fraction with the denominator 24? I multiply that by 3, top and bottom. So 2 over 24 is my new fraction. 21 over 24 is my other new fraction. Now I can add these together, and that'll be 23 over 24. And then also you add the 14 and the 17 together. That'll be 59 and 23 over 24.
I have one question.
Sure.
What where did the 24 come from again?
You look at the 12
Oh, the denominator. Okay.
yep, 12
Oh,
and
and the
8.
8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. And just in case anybody else, had the same question, you look at both denominators and say, what's the smallest number that both of those denominators can divide into evenly? And it was a 24. Good question. Good question. All right. Questions before we do another one. Make sure we're okay. And so, like you see in the red, this is our actual sum. And then the other one, the 60, was the estimation. So that's the difference between the two, how you will find the two.
Okay, I have another question.
Yep.
So on the test, when we show our work, do you want us to give you the estimate and the actual sum?
It all depends on the directions. So this one asks for estimate and then find the actual sum. So some of them will just ask for the actual sum. So I'm not asking you to do extra work for no reason. If all they want is the actual sum, you don't even have to worry about the estimate.
Okay.
All right. So same directions for this one. We have, let me erase this. So we have 7 and 5/6 plus 3 and 3/5. We're gonna do the estimate first. Turn this black. So we do the estimate first, and then we'll look at the actual. I believe we did the actual after that. Yep. All right. So once again, you take half of your denominator, which is 3, and you compare the 5 to the 3. Since 5 is greater than 3, that 7 will go to 8. comparing that 7 to the 3. And then here, our denominator, half of the denominator is 2.5. Comparing 5 to the 3. And here we're comparing 3 to the 2.5. And so that 3 is greater than 2.5. So the 3 goes up. This 3 goes up to 4. So this 5 was greater than this 3 right here. So that took my 7 up to 8. This 3 is greater than 2.5. So that means this 3 goes up to 4. And we had a bunch of 3's in here, so we had to make that distinction. After you've established if they, if the whole numbers will move up or not, you can go ahead and add them together or subtract, depends on which one you're doing. 8 plus 4 gives us 12. All right, so finding the actual. So this time, instead of adding them as mixed numbers, just showing you the other way you could do it, which is converting them to improper fractions like we did with multiplication and division, and then adding them. So it's up to you which way you want to do it. So I took the 7 and 5, 6. That'll be 7 times 6 plus 5. 7 times 6 is 42 plus 5 is 47 over 6. And then I did the 3 and 3/5. That's 3 times 5 plus 3. So 3 times 5 is 15 plus 3 is 18 over 5. So we have denominators of 6 and 5. So they give us the LCD of 30. The smallest number that both 6 and 5 can divide into evenly would be 30. So don't forget, whenever adding and subtracting fractions, you have to have a common denominator. Multiplying and dividing, you do not. Once again, adding and subtracting, you do. So now we go here. We want to turn 47 over 6 into a fraction that has a denominator of 30. So we multiply top and bottom by 5. And then we do the same thing with 18 over 5. We want to turn that into a fraction that has a denominator of 30. So we multiply top and bottom by 6. It's all about converting that denominator into that LCD. That's where we're getting those numbers from. So that's 235 over 30 plus 108 over 30. And don't let me scroll up too far if I am. All right. So that'll be 343 over 30. Now, if they were to ask, if they don't ask, then you should be good. But if they do ask, about make sure your answer is in mixed number form, then of course this will be the process. Take the 30, divide it into 343. It goes into 34 one time. It's 30. Subtract that. That gives you 4. Bring down your 3. Goes into 43 one time. And that'll be 13 with the remainder. So that's 11, 13 over 30. And both of these answers are the same thing. It just depends on what form they want your answer in. All right. Any questions? Questions? right, questions before we do a few more. Make sure we're okay. I'll scroll up. All right. So next one, 10 and 2/5 minus 4 and 3/4. And if I'm not mistaken, they don't ask for, yep. So in this case, notice they didn't ask for any type of estimation. So all you have to do is calculate, find the actual difference. So I decided to once again use or convert both mixed numbers to improper fractions. So 10 and 2/5 minus 4 and 3/4. So that's 10 times 5 plus 2 over 5 gives us 52 over 5. 4 times 6 plus 3 over 4 gives us 19 over 4. Once again, we need common denominators. And that 5 and 4 will help us to find the LCD of 20. 20 is the smallest number that 5 and 4 can divide into evenly. So I need to turn 52 over 5 into a fraction that has the denominator 4. Denominator is 20. So I multiply top and bottom by 4. I need to turn 19 over 4 into a fraction that has a denominator 20. So I multiply top and bottom by 5. So that gives us these fractions: 208 over 20, 95 over 20. All right. So go ahead and subtract those. That'll be 113 over 20. And then once again, if you need to convert it to an improper fraction, that will be the work over here on the right side. Taking 20 into 113 goes 5 times, giving you a remainder of 13. So that's 5 and 13 twentieths. All right. Any problems? All right, scrolling up. Sure we okay? All right. So here we have 4 minus 2 and 5/8. So I went ahead and once again converted that to a mixed number. So that's 2 times 8 plus 5 over 8. 2 times 8 is 16 plus 5 is 21. So they gave me 21 over 8. So now we're here. We need a common denominator. In this case, it would be of 8 because when you look at 1 and 8, I can leave the 8 as it is and just turn that 1 into an 8 by multiplying it by 8. So that's what I did. Multiply top and bottom by 8. 4 times 8 is going to be 32. And then, of course, 1 times 8 is 8. And that 21 over 8 doesn't change. So now we can subtract. That's 11 over 8. Don't want to go too far up. But once again, I'm just going to show the work that if you had needed to convert 11 over 8 into a mixed number, take the 8 divided into 11. But I want to make sure everybody's able to copy what's up top first. Oh, see somebody in the chat. is for the next test. I have to look and see how the test is broken up. So yeah, let me look at that before I say yes or no. All right, so that's the work on that. If you want to convert 11 or 8 to a mixed number. All right. Questions on any of that? Questions on any of that before we look at the next section? That's what that section is on. All right. 4.7. Let's see how long this section is. 4.8, solving equations, fractions. All right. All right, so let's hold on 1 second. I'm going to go because I want to ask a great question about the actual, what's on the actual first test. So let me see if I can find that out for you real quick before we keep going. So give me 1 second. All right, so 2, 4. So the way the first homework is broken up, he hasn't posted a test yet, so I'm going to have to contact him and see why he hasn't posted those. If not, I'll just make it up myself. So that's how homework 1 and homework 2 are broken up. And so last semester, I believe he broke up the test this way. All right. But like I said, I'm not sure because he could make them all, one test. But I think he broke them up that way. And I think he just had a test for each homework, like a checkpoint. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I believe that's how he did it last semester. So we just finished 4.6. So we have 4.7 and 4.8 to do in order to, be done with chapter 8. I mean, chapter 4. All right. All right, let me look at one more thing. All right. So what we will do, or what we can do is, since the test hasn't been posted, I'll go ahead and hold off and we can do 4.7. Start with 4.7 on Monday. It's all good. And so make sure you take advantage of, the fact that I'm not filling up the class full of stuff, hitting you, with a whole bunch of material all at once, trying to pull back a little bit. Um, but, get into Connect Math. Some people have gotten in there and, knocking the stuff out. Go ahead and get in there. I see that some people haven't as well. So make sure you get in there, get your work done, start grinding on this work so that it won't be something that's like a whole bunch of stuff that's piled upon you come towards deadlines. So right now I think due date is like February 14th or something like that. So right now, I might move that date back, I may not. So you want to go ahead and get this stuff done while you can, and there's no pressure of a due date. So before we close out for the weekend, questions on anything? Any questions?
Yes, I have a question. I just joined, but I'll just wait till after everything's done.
Okay. All right. Anybody else with any general questions before we close out today? Everybody good? Everybody straight? All right. So if you guys are good, I'm good. Make sure, like I said, even if you don't like football, you can always just pick a player. I mean, not pick a player, pick a team, right? 50-50 chance that you could win those points, get those points. And yeah, we'll go from there. So see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Be safe and take care.